What's up? It's me. It's Scro Daddy. I get this question like every day, probably. And I've made a bunch of videos on it, but here's a longer video on it. So I was always like a metal guy, and I always just had distortion because I wanted to be cool or better than everyone or something like that, more extreme. And then a few years ago, I just like turned distortion off and I was like, oh, people just like this better. So my tone comes from a really bare necessity kind of energy, I guess. I don't know anything about like clean tones. I know a lot about like distortion and line 6, metal zone, but the sound is like really simple. And I just happen to have a guitar that sounds really good with that. Most important thing you're gonna start with is, of course, your guitar. This is an RG7421. It's sort of like the base model 7-string guitar that Ibanez has. This guitar is about 10 years old at this point. This is a little fret wrap for when you're sweeping to sound a little cleaner, but I don't need that for this. So you don't need a 7-string guitar. I just have a 7 and I'm used to a 7-string because I'm a chuggy boy and I like hitting the low string. I don't know the kind of pickups that are in this, but this is all just like a stock guitar. I haven't done anything special to it. So I'm gonna take this cable, go directly from my guitar into this little Focusrite that everyone knows and loves. It's gonna go direct in here. And for me to set my levels into the interface, I do like some palm muting chugging, and I just make sure it's not clipping. I have my tone all the way up and my volume all the way up. The most important part about my tone is I don't go all the way to the bridge pickup. I go just one click back, and that's actually playing from this part of the pickup and this part of the pickup. I just found this out like a few weeks ago. I was always just like messing around, didn't really know what they did, honestly. But yeah, I've had this guitar for 10 years and just now figured out what that meant. Another thing is I'm using D'Addario strings. So I use these, the Nixels, NYXL, I don't know how to pronounce it. There's just a few effects I put on the guitar to make it sound real cute. First thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna put just Reaper's stock compressor on there. I don't know what I'm doing, by the way, but it sounds good. I put the attack all the way as fast as it'll go. I put the release like pretty long, I guess. I make the ratio like crazy. Like, I don't really care what the ratio is, honestly. The most important part on your compressor is where you're gonna have the threshold at, because that's when it's actually gonna be working. The other parameters don't matter really as much to me. I'm gonna bring the threshold all the way until I'm getting a steady like 8 or 10 decibels of gain reduction. 15 is a little too much. -11. That's pretty good. That is kind of destroying it. Now, because it's so quiet, I'm going to bring the makeup gain up. On here, it's just the wet knob. So now if we turn the compressor off, this is what it sounds like without compression. This is what it sounds like with the heavy compression. There's really not that big of a difference, honestly. And more importantly, I'm gonna put OTT on there. As a guitar player or like an indie rock band or math rock, a lot of people don't know about this plugin, but in the dubstep, bass music, EDM, like producer community, everyone knows about this plugin because it makes everything sound really bright and pro and mature sounding. Probably gonna get a lot of flack for saying that, but it's one of those like one and done plugins. You just put it on everything and it sounds better. So for me, this is what mine is at, and I just mess around with the depth knob. So 100% is gonna be way too much. I usually have it at like about 30. So that's it. That is my entire signal chain. Let's turn it all off. Turn it back on. If I go to a different pickup, like let's say my bridge, let's see what that sounds like. Let's put it back to that nicer, sort of like dual, single, whatever, I don't know. Really like hear the string. So if you watch a lot of my videos, you'll kind of hear that there's always 2 notes going on actually. It's never just one riff. A lot of people think it's a harmonizer or some like Tim Henson plugin or something. I just am always tracking 2 layers of guitar parts. So they're harmonies of each other, and they're usually just a third of each other. I'm gonna make another video about like the theory of how to do this, but I'm just gonna do it right now so you can see what it sounds like. So let's say I play this line. So that'll be like the left channel, and then I'm gonna play the harmony of it in like the right channel part. So that's it. That is the tone. To me, the sound, the aesthetic of it really comes from the harmonies that you're using. When I say that, I mean like what chords you're using. You're not gonna be able to get that sort of sound if you're doing like this is the same tone. That sounds garbage. It's not the style. So just use like a lot of major 7ths, major 9ths. I like minor 11ths. Major 9ths, like I said. Yeah, let me know if you guys want a video of that. It's like really heady and kind of confusing. Anyways, that's it. Thanks. Peace.